This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Make threats against Fani Willis, a Fulton County prosecutor, and the sheriff in that county, and this FBI and this Department of Justice are going to find you, prosecute you, and bring you to justice. That is the lesson we've learned once again. What happens when Joe Biden's Department of Justice, as Donald Trump likes to say, takes things seriously, regardless of political party affiliation, when a public servant, when a prosecutor is threatened and their lives are threatened. In this case, we've got the case of Arthur Ray Hanson II, 59, out of Alabama, who decided in August to pick up the phone and make 2 phone calls into Georgia to the Fulton County government customer service line. Where else are you going to make death threats than on a customer service line? So Mr. Hanson decided to make 2 separate threats, one against Fani Willis and one against Sheriff Pat Labatt of Fulton County. And in it, in no uncertain terms, according to the indictment, and I'm going to read from it here, in the message to the sheriff, Hanson made statements that included, if you think you're going to take a mugshot of my President Donald Trump and it's going to be okay, you're going to find out that after you take that mugshot, some bad shit is probably going to happen to you. And then goes on to say, if you take a mugshot of the president and you're the reason it happened, some bad shit's going to happen to you. And then goes on to say, I'm warning you right now before you F up your life and get hurt real bad. Whether you got a effing badge or not ain't going to help you none. You're going to get effed up. You keep effing with my president. This sounds like exact vernacular and patois of people that follow Donald Trump to the limit, as I like to say, or beyond the limit. And then in Hanson's message about and to Fani Willis, the district attorney who's prosecuting Donald Trump, he said, watch it where you're going to the car at night. Watch it when you're going to the car at night. And when you're going into your house, watch everywhere that you're going. I would be afraid if I were you, because you can't be around people all the time that are going to protect you. There's going to be moments when you're going to be vulnerable. When you charge Trump on that 4th indictment, I'm glad he's able to count the amount of indictments, just as a personal side note here. He's right. The 4th indictment, anytime you're alone, be looking over your shoulder, and what you put out there effing comes back at you 10 times harder, and don't ever forget it. Now, let's talk about, let me frame this for a minute and put it in context. Fani Willis needs to wear a bulletproof vest and has armed guards helping her get to in and out of the courthouse and her office every day since she's indicted and started investigating Donald Trump, not before. Her staff as well. And she has armed guards that work with her. That should not have to happen in our country, in our society, but she's not the only one. Judge Chutkan, the D.C. Circuit Court judge presiding over the election interference case brought by the federal government, she has federal marshals. She's in federal marshal protection, effectively, having several marshals run with her or bike with her in the morning to work and on the way home, taking different routes evasively to avoid her being assassinated. There's no other way to put it. She didn't have to do that before she presided over Donald Trump's trial. And I can't think of anybody else that would be indicted where she would have to have that level of protection. Federal judges have some protection, but not the level that is going on now. That's because she's gotten death threats from Trump supporters as well, who have also been arrested and indicted by this Department of Justice. Yes, Joe Biden's Department of Justice and the FBI. And I think the FBI and the Department of Justice put it eloquently in their own press release related to the arrest of Hanson, this guy up in Alabama who's already been arraigned in Alabama and will be brought to justice in Georgia on November the 13th for his arraignment there, and will be incarcerated, I'm sure, pending a trial in Georgia. So he gets a free trip to Georgia. Good work. What the U.S. attorney in the Northern District of Georgia, Ryan Buchanan, had to say about this was, sending interstate threats to physically harm prosecutors and law enforcement officers is a vile act intended to interfere with the administration of justice and intimidate individuals who accept a solemn duty to protect and safeguard the rights of citizens. When someone threatens to harm public servants, Mr. Buchanan went on, for doing their jobs to enforce our criminal laws, it potentially weakens the very foundation of our society. Our office office will labor tirelessly with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners to help ensure that law enforcement officials are free to serve our communities without the threat of physical attack. And then the special agent in charge in the FBI, Kerry Farley, in Atlanta said, threats against public servants are not only illegal, but also a threat against our democratic process. The FBI's mission, listen up, Trumpers, the FBI's mission is to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution. We take this responsibility very seriously and seek to punish those who engage in this type of criminal behavior and to send the message that such conduct will not be tolerated. I don't know any other way to put it. But it's not okay, and it's not a First Amendment right to attack people with violent rhetoric or threaten them or threaten to kill them in the middle of the night or any other time. And Donald Trump, who is, in my view, has been completely disqualified from serving in the highest office again and having that honor, does that every day. That's why Judge Chutkan, the judge in the D.C. election case, just regagged him and required that he not use violent rhetoric, observing time and time again in her recent order that his violent rhetoric has real-world violent consequences because people like Mr. Hanson listen to the clarion call of Donald Trump and do bad things as a result. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Miracle sheets are the perfect gift for your spouse, friends, or family who doesn't want better sleep and luxurious feeling bed sheets. And since these come with 3 free towels, you get 2 gifts in one, just in time for the holidays. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try it today or gift it to someone special this holiday season. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Save over 40%. And if you use our promo LegalAF at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself, a friend, or loved one this holiday season. I'm not saying Donald Trump's going to pick up a pitchfork or a shovel or a gun or an AR-15, but his supporters are, and those that, you can say what you want about their mental stability in the first place or their judgment in the first place, but he can't control his followers. That's the reality. He can't control them. He wants their vote. He wants their adulation. He wants their love. He cannot control them. And there is a group within that group. There is a subgroup that has violent tendencies, and they will pick up a gun, a knife, a rifle, a bat, and do grievous bodily harm to other human beings who they see as the enemy of Donald Trump because he has called them the enemy of Donald Trump. So we're here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF to report in real time when the justice system works or when it doesn't work. In this case, of course, it works with the indictment for making interstate threats against a public official by Mr. Hanson. And he's not the only one. As I said at the top of the hot take, Judge Chutkan had a similar phone call message left on her chamber's voicemail service threatening to assassinate her, right? Donald Trump pointed his ire at Obama and a Donald Trump supporter, armed, ended up in Obama's neighborhood in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., strolling around looking to hunt Obama and his family until the Secret Service interceded. And of course, that guy's been arrested and indicted. But, how many times do we have to, pressure the system to see if one of these crackpots or one of these lucid followers of Donald Trump, I'm not sure I'm ready to write everything off to mental instability here, get through the defense system that's been established and something really terrible happened. How easy is it for us to imagine what would have happened on Jan 6th had that outmatched group of Capitol Police not been able to protect as best they could through subterfuge, through shaking shiny objects, making people run the opposite direction until the help that they were waiting for hours really never arrived? What could have happened if those people got into the chamber before the legislators left the chamber? And all the ones that support Donald Trump now, like the new Speaker of the House, who is a election denier, but he was crawling on his belly and putting gas masks on the day of the insurrection. And if anybody had broken through and killed one of our elected officials, then what? And we were very close to that. We are very close to that. We were very close to that. And so to say it's unlikely to happen, it's so likely to happen that federal judges like Judge Chutkan have gagged Donald Trump. Yes, a candidate for the presidency. Yes, he has First Amendment rights, but not to the exclusion of our fair administration of justice and the safety and security of other people. There are limits to the First Amendment, even when you are campaigning for office. It doesn't give you license, which Donald Trump has argued, and his lawyers have argued time and time again. It does not give you license to say and do anything and call everybody the enemy of the people, call out their names, dox them, send your enemies, send your troops aimed at them and hope that something really bad happens. I don't know what Donald Trump's thinking is giving too much credit to Donald Trump at this point, because I'm not sure the brain waves and brain patterns there are really fitting together. But I don't know what his thought process is, continuing to attack prosecutors and their families, judges and their families, FBI agents and their families, attorney generals and their families. I don't really get, other than he wants to see blood rolling down the streets. It doesn't help his case, is what I'm trying to say, from a logical standpoint. It's not helping him. The attorney general is not being less aggressive in bringing her fraud case to take away his buildings, his money, and his business reputation. The prosecutors in Atlanta, Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, Alvin Bragg in New York, aren't pulling their punches and doing less because they're scared of Donald Trump. So what is his ultimate end game? If he were to sit in a room with one of his advisors, if it's just to raise money and galvanize his base, I don't think his base could be any more galvanized in support of him. He's got his votes. They are not going anywhere. We've seen that. He's got his 28 or 32% of the Republican Party that won't vote for anybody but him. I get that. And I get he needs money. And so he'll say and do anything to get it. But he'll have blood on his hands. And that's what these judges are worried about. Judge Engoron in New York, who gagged him and has fined him twice and warned him with jail time, has said out loud he is afraid somebody's going to get killed because of Donald Trump's rhetoric. And we don't want that to be prophetic, right? So we'll continue to report stories like Mr. Hanson from Alabama making death threats against civil servants and public servants and being brought to justice by the Department of Justice and the FBI. One place, MeidasTouch Network on this YouTube channel. That's where I do this kind of work. Pull it all together every week on a show we call Legal AF. Join us there. It's the leading podcast of its kind at the intersection of law, politics, and justice. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Saturdays at the same time. And I do hot takes like this one about every day, sometimes multiple times a day, depending upon what is happening in the world of U.S. law, politics, and justice. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.